Hi, my name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch network. Our political landscape is deeply divided, you may have noticed, and I often find myself wondering, how did we get here? How did we go from this?
We're scared. We're scared of an Obama presidency, and I'll tell you why. I'm concerned about, someone that, cohorts with domestic terrorists such as heirs.
I have to tell you, he is a decent person and a person that you do not have to be scared as President of the United States. Now, look,
I got to ask you a question. I do not I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
To this.
We got a lot of work to do. They're poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done. They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world.
We've come a long, long way from the class and character of my home state Senator, Republican John McCain, a former POW whom Trump referred to as a loser for getting captured by the North Vietnamese. Now we have Trump yelling out high praises for authoritarian dictators like China's Xi Jinping, North Korea's Kim Jong-un, and of course, Russia's brutal dictator, Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin. Has anybody ever heard of Vladimir Putin? Of Russia says that Biden's, and this is a quote, politically motivated persecution of his political rival.
Just a reminder, by the way, Vladimir Putin assassinates his political rivals. That's right. Or he imprisons them where they disappear. Right now, Putin prisoner Alexei Navalny is missing, and his family and allies don't know where he is. But this is the guy. This is the leader that Trump and his MAGA mob are praising. And that's also a glimpse of what we face if Trump is reelected. But Trump, as awful as he is, without followers, is just a madman, ranting hate, stoking fear in orange makeup. It's his legions of fans that give him any potential power. And those people, for the most part, are white Christian nationalists. And they have been waiting for their golden calf for decades. Someone to be their retribution and their revenge, as you often hear Trump say. When Trump showed up, they got their man, their mouthpiece, their representation of white fright, racism, xenophobia, and misogyny. The creepy thing about it is that they try to hide their bigotry and rage by claiming to be Christians. And thousands of them gathered this past weekend in Phoenix at the biggest white Christian nationalist gathering of the year, known as America Fest, sponsored by Turning Point USA, a far-right group which was founded by Charlie Kirk. And here he is, stoking up the rabid base.
And I think this picture is a perfect picture of a left-wing male. You know, they want a guy with a lisp, zipping around on a Lime scooter with a fanny pack, carrying his birth control, supporting his wife's career while he works as a supportive stay-at-home house husband. He has a playlist that is exclusively Taylor Swift. And their idea of strength is this beta male's girlfriend opening a pickle jar just for him. At Turning Point USA, we resoundingly reject this. We believe in strong, alpha, godly, high T, high achieving, confident, well-armed, and disruptive men are the hope, not the problem in America.
Christian nationalists preach that women are to be submissive to their men, that men must be the head of the household, that women cannot possibly be final decision makers. They believe that feminism is evil. I'm very familiar with this because I grew up around this ideology, and it wasn't my parents so much as the church we attended and the Christian middle school I went to. But when I went off to a public high school and eventually a liberal arts school for college, I got out of that white Christian nationalist bubble, which always seemed weird to me anyway. I discovered something called critical thinking. Why am I sharing this? Because Christian nationalism has been around forever and forever, behind the scenes of power, telling people what to think, God forbid you have a thought of your own, and how to live.
And then in the summer of 2020, during Floydapalooza, we saw churches parroting a lie from the pit of hell when they said that America was systemically racist and that you're a racist person because of the color of your skin. And I looked around and I said, why is the church peddling this? And I took a step back. I said, the Marxists have took over the FBI. They have took over our colleges, and they're trying to take over the church next.
Christian nationalists operate in white fear porn. They believe that anyone who doesn't look like them, sound like them, or believe in a theocracy is dangerous. Listen for yourself as white Christian nationalist leader Nick Fuentes of the Trump and Kanye dinner at Mar-a-Lago fame. He has millions of followers, and he's talking about the worldview he envisions if Trump gets back into power.
At the high levels of society, and specifically among the Jews, so many of the people that are perpetrating the lies and the destruction on the country, they are evildoers. They are people that worship false gods. They are people that practice magic or rituals or whatever. And more than anything, those people need to be, when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty. Straight up. And I'm far more concerned about that than I am about even non-white people or mass migration. These people that are communing with demons and engaging in this sort of witchcraft and stuff, and these people that are suppressing the name Christ and suppressing Christianity, they must be absolutely annihilated when we take power. This is God's country. This is Jesus' country.
Christian nationalists believe in a doctrine known as dominionism, where white Christians are to take over all pillars of a society, from businesses to schools to the highest levels of government. The Federalist Society and the Heritage Foundation are two ultra-conservative organizations that have groomed these ultra-conservatives and placed them in the highest halls of power, like the Supreme Court. Samuel Alito, Clarence Thomas, and Amy Coney Barrett, to name just a few of their so-called graduates. And they are sent to carry out an agenda. For example, the reversal of Roe.
I don't like this, religion stuff. Well, get over it, because this country was founded by courageous, Bible-believing Christians.
Most of us hadn't heard about Mike Johnson, the new Speaker of the House, who was voted in to replace Kevin McCarthy. But Johnson was one of the chief architects of Trump's attempted coup. And don't think he isn't 2 heartbeats away from the presidency on accident. In fact, just ask him.
Now, at the time, I assumed the Lord is going to choose a new Moses, and thank you, the Lord, you're going to allow me to be Aaron to Moses. And so I worked to get Steve Scalise elected speaker. That didn't happen. And then Jim Jordan, who's like another big brother of mine, no, that didn't happen. And then Tom Emmer, and ultimately 13 people ran for the post. And the Lord kept telling me to wait. So I waited. And then at the end, when it came to the end, the Lord said, now, step forward.
These folks use their religion to justify their hateful behavior. However, if you would allow me to illuminate for a moment, Christian, by definition, means to be Christ-like. Now, whether you believe in Christ as the Messiah, a prophet, or a historical character, his biblical teachings are the opposite of what Christian nationalists are spewing. Jesus was one of the first feminists. He platformed women from his own mother to the first evangelist he ordained, the woman at the well, who, by the way, was a Samaritan. And the Jews hated Samaritans. So that's Jesus showing, exempling what it means to love your neighbor, crossing borders right there. To Mary of Magdalene, who was one of his closest disciples. And yet you'll hear Christian nationalists vilify her as the Jezebel, evil, loose woman. In John 13, Jesus commands us to love one another, not shout out hate. He told us to love the poor, the abandoned, the orphans, the widows, and the immigrants. And Jesus himself was a brown-skinned man whose family fled political violence as refugees to Egypt. Jesus also clapped back at the Pharisees, the MAGA Republicans of his day, about their abject hypocrisy and hatred. All of this to say that the gospel of hate that white Christian nationalists are spreading is not about Jesus or Christ at all. It is about holding on to white male power. And the more diverse and the more feminist the world grows, the more desperate they are to cling to that power. By any means necessary, yes, as we saw on January 6th, even violence. Please remember that hate only begets more hate. My name is Suri Crowe. You're watching the MeidasTouch Network. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.
Thanks so much for watching. We're only a few subscribers short of 2 million subs. Please subscribe right now to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel for free and help us grow this unapologetically pro-democracy network.